The entire Ronda Rousey card that will appear on Netflix has finally been released, and the big question is, let's compare and contrast. Which card is better, the White House card or this MVP promotions card? Before I get into my answer, I need to do a little bit of a story time. The year was, I don't know, 2018 maybe, 2019? And Disney decided we are going to get into the streaming service. We are going to release our streaming platform called Disney Plus. You might have heard of it. And I sign up for Disney Plus, and I immediately tweet out, Disney Plus is far superior to Netflix. It's not even close. Not realizing that I was getting baited into nostalgia. I was just soaking in Brink, Johnny Tsunami, Phantom at the Megaplex. Throw Luck of the Irish in there. I was getting baited into what I had grown up with and not the original programming that I actually yearned for. So to answer the question of which card is better, it isn't close. It is the White House card. But that doesn't mean that this MVP promotions card isn't really good. And there was one name on the card that immediately jumped out where I went, I am 1000% tuning in for this, no matter how bad it is. And I will get to that name in a moment, because I have a contact at Netflix that when this card got announced, I was like, dude, what are you doing? Like Ronda Rousey versus Gina Carano? Like, ugh. Hey, banger of a fight 10 years ago. But now? Yeah, I think this is a failure. And when the card started to actually materialize, I was like, oh no, this is actually good. Here's what MVP did so well. They took name recognizable fighters that people actually want to watch, and they're putting them on one card. This isn't, that GFL promotion where you had like Uriah Faber and Kevin Lee and Luke Rockhold. Like, all due respect to those guys, these are marquee names that are draws on their own. I'm talking Francis Ngannou. If you're an MMA fan and you hear Francis, you know exactly who we're talking about. Talking Ronda Rousey, Nate Diaz. You hit a 1, 2, 3 of those people, and that is going to get people to tune in. Whether you are interested in watching them fight or not, you probably know their name. Am I interested to see Francis Ngannou versus Philippe Lins? I'm interested to see Francis because I love watching the guy knock people into the shadow realm, and that's exactly what he'll do. I mean, this is like night and day when it comes to the talent level. Like, this is not going to last more than 30 seconds. Philippe Lins, with all due respect, not even close to the caliber fighter that Francis Ngannou is, but that's not MVP's fault, because how do you match up Francis? Francis is probably one of the 2 to 3 best heavyweights in the world, if not the best heavyweight in the world. We don't know this because the UFC, when it came to the White House card, did something that they could not reverse. And I talked about it. You can find the video up in the corner. It might be over there. I don't know. They hyped up this card so much for the public that they were in a no-win situation, that when the card finally did get announced, it was a letdown. The card on its own is a really good card. Like, it really is. And I've heard a lot of MMA pundits say the closer we get to the date, we are going to be excited about it. Yeah. I was doing my laundry, and then all of a sudden, the door opened up. Didn't expect that. Anyway, hit thumbs down for that. Hit thumbs down for the door opening up on its own. And I think that's true, because when you look at the card for the White House card and you go through it, the main card is really good. And I talked about it when it came out. Like, it wasn't what we wanted, because every MMA fan is thinking, you're getting John Jones. Do they sign Francis? No, they don't. But you're getting O'Malley versus Corey Sandhagen if O'Malley fights. You're probably getting Bo Nickel versus Colby Covington. You're getting these fights that you look at and you go like, damn, like I'm absolutely jacked for that fight. I'm jacked for that. Oh, some Connor guy might be returning. That's what you had built up in your head. And the UFC has a problem where they are the boy that cried wolf. They had told us time and time again, we're not doing this, Connor's not coming back, Francis ain't coming back, John Jones is not fighting at the White House card. But they had lied so many times, especially Dana White, that we can't believe him at this point. So everybody heard it. They thought, oh, there's no way. And then the card comes out, and you've got a situation where you've got Americans that are going to get murked in front of, you know, the ultimate pro-American political party, if you will. You know, I mean, you look at it though. Topuria versus Justin Gaethje, banger of a fight, but I think everyone's expecting Justin Gaethje to get murked because Ilia Topuria does that to just about everybody, and then Ilia will move up and fight Islam. With that said, I would rather see Ilia fight Justin Gaethje because I never need to see another Islam Makhachev fight again. Call me a casual. I don't give a fuck. The next fight on the card, Alex Pereira versus Cyril Gane. Okay, fine. Cyril Gane is the ultimate bridesmaid at this point. It's like, yeah, who do we throw in a title fight? I guess Cyril Gane. He's really good. He's got a name. Cyril Gane has become the heavyweight version of Holly Holm, where no matter what Holly Holm did, Holly Holm was always one fight away from a title shot because the division was so shallow and she was a marquee name. And that's what you've got here. You've got Alex Pereira, who is going to get gifted the belt, you assume. It's not like Cyril Gane's a pushover. No, he's not. But the punching power of Poatan, you expect him to make history and get his third belt. The third fight in the card is Sean O'Malley versus Ayman Zahabi. I like that fight. I do. I think that's a really good fight. It's not as good as Sean O'Malley versus Corey Sandhagen. But the UFC is trying to build up Sean O'Malley so much to get him back in the title picture. I'm actually really surprised they didn't give him the Petr Yan rematch. I expected Petr Yan versus Sean O'Malley. I expected 3 belts on this card. So I was a little impressed that it was just Sean O'Malley in a regular fight, in a regular like 3-round fight, and not a title picture. But you figure, okay, Sean O'Malley goes in there, he does Sean O'Malley things, and then he gets the title shot against Petr Yan. Depending on Petr Yan giving Merab a rematch, which Merab absolutely deserves. But it's a good fight. It's a really good fight. Next fight, Mauricio Rufy versus Michael Chandler. Who doesn't like watching Michael Chandler get his face punched in? I think Michael Chandler likes watching his face punched in. And there's another, marquee name. And then finally, you've got Bo Nickel versus Kyle Dawkins. I think everybody wants to see Bo Nickel versus Colby Covington because there's bad blood there. The fact that Colby Covington is the ultimate, the first like pro MAGA guy, and he's not on this card is amusing. But I would have probably preferred that fight. But I don't dislike the fight. All of this to say, I don't dislike this card. But this card, the White House card, is better than the nostalgia pick. There's nothing wrong with the MVP card if you want to do a trip down memory lane. Absolutely nothing wrong when you look at it, all right? You got Gina Carano versus Ronda Rousey, as I said. Banger of a fight 10 years ago. Don't really care about it because at the end of the day, neither of these women are going to stick in MMA. This to me is a one-off. Whereas Francis Ngannou versus Philippe Lins, Francis Ngannou is looking to stay in MMA. It is ridiculous that the UFC is holding this grudge and did not sign that man because Francis Ngannou versus Poatan, the 2 hardest hitting guys probably on the planet, that's a much better fight than either Francis Ngannou versus Philippe Lins or Poatan versus Cyril Gane. Give me that all day. But once again, UFC didn't want to do it. They're in a no-win situation with this card because they overhyped it. The next fight, Mike Perry versus Nate Diaz. And Nate Diaz has been cooked for a decade, it seems like. All right, maybe not a decade, but like he's a journeyman fighter who's been living off of beating Conor McGregor, and I am not surprised, motherfucker. Like, but, this is a guy that has a huge fan base, got his ass beat by Leon Edwards for 24 minutes. In the 25th minute, he finally caught Leon, and instead of finishing the fight, he just pointed at him. Like, he is the epitome of a journeyman fighter, but he's got a name, and he's got a fan base that will tune in to watch him. And Mike Perry is rarely in a boring fight. That should be a banger of a fight. The next fight on the card is Lorenzo Larkin versus Jason Jackson. I'm not going to pretend to know that one. But then finally, this is the name, for me at least, that when I looked at the card, and I had heard rumors about it via, the interweb, that this was a possibility, and I was so in on it. Saladin Parnasse taking on Kenneth Cross. Folks, when I tell you that Saladin Parnasse is the truth, I have been waiting for this man to come over to the UFC since 2019. I was put onto him by P.T. Carroll. At the time, P.T. was doing stuff for MMA fighting, and he was doing, MMA fighting at the time. And he was like their British, European, but he was like the prospect guy. He would tell you who was coming up, and he hyped him up so much. And I've been following his career This guy, to give you an idea of how talented Saladin Parnasse is, he's 22-2. He tried to become the KSW triple champion, moving up 3 divisions to win belts. Failed to do so, but that was one of his losses. The other one he got caught. It happens to the best of us. If this guy stepped foot in the UFC, he would immediately be in top 5 fighter and probably 1 fight away from a title shot. He is better than like the RDR comparison, RDR coming over and kind of immediately being in the title picture. Saladin Parnasse is way better than that. This dude is the truth. And if there is one name where I'm saying, look, watch this fight for the future of the MMA. For the future of the MMA? No, Pat. For the future of MMA. If you were going to watch this fight for the future of the sport, and not the nostalgia trip down memory lane, you know, Gina Carano, Holly Holm, and Nate Diaz and all that. But I'm talking like you can actually follow this guy's career and see him develop and see him become a world champion. Saladin Parnasse is it. That's nothing against Kenneth Cross. I'm not going to lie to you. I haven't watched Kenneth Cross. I just know how good Saladin Parnasse is. I did read that Kenneth Cross is like rarely in a boring fight, so it should be a good one. But this to me was the holy shit, you got that guy. I am immediately tuning in. So, look, the rest of the fight card is what it is. I mean, you've got, Junior DeSantos fighting on it. Like, again, you're going back to the nostalgia with Junior DeSantos. Let's see who else is on this card real quick. Mo Mokaev. Like, Mo Mokaev is one of the best 125-pound fighters in the world, and he pissed off the UFC so much as an undefeated fighter who was in title contention that they didn't re-sign him. Like, that's how much of an asshole he was. And this is the UFC. They deal with assholes all the time. Like, they're fine with it. John Jones has had how many chances? So I don't know what Mo Mokaev was doing, but this guy was the legitimate title contender. And they cut him. Undefeated, had to go to Brave. Winning ways have continued, and now he's on this card. I expect him to continue to win because the best 125ers are in the UFC, and he's not fighting those, so he's kind of just biding his time until I feel like the statute of limitations has evaporated and he can kind of come back. But Mo Mokaev is another one that I'm excited to see again. And then after that, a lot of the names I'm not overly familiar with, so I'm not going to lie to you and be like, oh yeah, no, this guy's great, that guy's great. Rabalas, the guy that Junior Junior DeSantos is fighting, I recognize just from fighting in the UFC, but can't tell you. Wait, where do I know this guy from? Because yeah, okay, all right, I wasn't making it up. I'm like looking at his Tapology, and I'm like, wait, hasn't fought in the UFC since 2024, but since then he has been on a 7-fight win streak, although a lot of it is against talent like Sam Alvey, Zach Puoga. Like, none of these guys are really UFC caliber, so if he probably stepped foot in the UFC again, he'd probably get murked. Heavyweight division, though, is really shallow, so who knows. But my point of all this is, for all those people debating which card is better, it isn't close. It is the White House card. Let's not get it twisted. Let's not go down the nostalgia purposes. People are getting wrapped up in the fact that this card was so hyped up, the White House card, and it didn't deliver. Meanwhile, the MVP card, when it got announced, was like, really? And it has actually they put together a really good card. But when it comes to, push comes to shove, one card is better than the other. And now's the part of the video I ask you guys to please subscribe to the channel, hit thumbs up if you like this video, smash that thumbs down button, smash it if you thought it sucked. Let me know which card you're more excited about in the comments section. As far as comments go, I'm probably only going to respond to channel members. So support the channel, become a channel member. It's the cool thing to do. If you don't, I mean, subscribing is cool too. I don't know. It's a free country. Do whatever you want. I just have bills to pay. So as long as you let the ads run, that's really all I care about. All right, I'm going to go now because laundry.